The Dragon Prince has proven to be one of those very few shows that improves with every passing season. While Season 1 was great, serving as a tantalizing introduction to a world of nuance, intrigue, mystery, and moral ambiguity, it was weighed down by an abundance of exposition, not to mention a low frame rate, that turned off a lot of potential viewers before they had the opportunity to be sucked into the world of this show. Season 2 was significantly better, revealing these characters to be maturing and struggling to handle all their different responsibilities and duties. But Season 3 is what took the show from merely being a great fantasy series to being one of the best fantasy series airing today. It went deeper into the friction between humans and elves. It went deeper into the death of Thunder Avazandum. It went deeper into the relationship between Rayla and Callum, and it managed to take everything the show had been building for 3 seasons and have it culminate into one bombastic, satisfying conclusion. But Season 4 is going to be an even better season. Here's why. With the first act of the show now established, its creative potential has been greatly expanded. While the show assuredly has more secrets to reveal, it does not have to depend upon an onslaught of exposition. It can focus more on the characters and the relationships between these characters. The bond between Callum and Rayla could become closer and more complicated. They could learn things about each other that they didn't know before, and have to grapple with these revelations. They could have to contend with how their relationship is viewed by a cruel and biased elven society. Their relationship is already remarkable. They're comfortable with each other despite how insecure they have been individually, and despite how relationships between elves and humans are criticized by both sides. But in Season 4, the relationship will become more nuanced. They will think further about what they mean to each other, and the result will be a more robust and dynamic relationship than we saw in Season 3. Additionally, Season 4 will likely focus more on Ezran's struggles as monarch. In Season 3, we see that he has a good and kind heart, but we also see that his youth and naivete allows him to be manipulated by others, and these others care far less about him and far more about advancing their own malevolent plans. Like in all good stories about what it means to be a good, strong ruler, we'll see him be torn between 2 different sides. This side is represented by his father and a lot of his advisors. This side wants him to take a stronger stand against the elves. After all, the elves and dragons have caused humanity a lot of unnecessary trouble and concern. The threat of war is as much due to the elves' aggression as it is due to anything the humans have done. But then there is the other side of Ezran, the side that wants him to be kind and merciful, even when being these things is not smart practically, and indeed could threaten the stability and strength of the human kingdoms. Ezran is a very sweet boy. By nature, he tends more toward mercy and peaceful resolution to conflicts. The show, thus far, appears to be more on Ezran's side. The main antagonist of the Dragon Prince, one could argue, is not any particular character, but rather the idea of the cycle of war and violence. However, an earnest desire to pursue peace, while always good, is not necessarily enough. If you want peace, but the other side is not willing to listen, then throwing down your arms is not the smartest idea. If Ezran is going to become a great ruler, he will have to learn how to balance his merciful tendencies with practical necessities. He will have to be kind without being stupid, and strong without being cruel. It is not an easy path to walk, and there are no easy answers, which is why it will be so fascinating to see Season 3 of The Dragon Prince explore these questions with the show's trademark nuance and clarity. I see no reason to believe the show will stay away from moral complexity regarding Ezran's character in Season 4, as the show has proved itself remarkably interested in examining morally fraught issues and the question of leadership. Speaking of contemplating issues of morality, let's talk about Claudia. As Season 3 progressed, she found herself torn between her brother Soren, who struggled to redeem himself, and her father Viren, who gradually lost what shreds of humanity he still had left, as he became nothing but a puppet for Eryth, his little bug pal. Viren has basically sold his soul at this point. Unfortunately, considering Claudia was always Viren's favorite child, and considering how Claudia is unwilling to accept that the moral framework she has been using these last several seasons is wrong, she stays with Viren, even though doing so means throwing herself off the moral cliff, as it were. She stands with Viren even when he transforms his soldiers into dark magic zombies. She stands with him even as she disagrees with the influence Eryth has on his life. She leads an army into battle against the humans and the elves. And when she sees Ezran wandering through the battlefield after the battle has concluded, she attempts to kill him, conjuring up a clone of Viren. When Soren has to choose between his father and Ezran, he chooses Ezran. He chooses his duty to the outside world over his duty to his family. Though Soren may not have an abundance of book smarts, he reveals in Season 3 to have a strong moral compass. He knows what is right, and he knows that it would not be right to stay with Viren. He needs to protect Ezran, so he does, whatever the cost. Does he want to kill his father? Of course not. But he is willing to do it in order to benefit the greater good. This is something Claudia cannot understand under any circumstances. She prioritizes her family, and especially her father, over all else, even if that family is cruel and corrupt. So here, we see the two siblings foil each other. This is made extremely explicit in the Season 3 finale. Claudia revives her father, bringing him back from the dead, even though she needs to kill others in order to do so. One sibling is willing to kill his father in order to help the world be at peace. The other is willing to kill the world's chances at peace in order to help her father. This is a watershed choice for Claudia, and it casts a shadow over everything she does from this point onward. Now, this does not necessarily mean she cannot be redeemed. If she decides in the first episode of Season 4 that she is sorry for everything she has done, and she wants to be redeemed, I don't think Team Callum would have a hard time accepting her. After all, they did not have a particularly difficult time accepting Soren, even though Soren more vividly and consistently opposed them than did Claudia throughout the first 2 seasons of The Dragon Prince. But of course, she is not magically going to turn her back on everything she stood for in Season 3. That would be shallow and simplistic writing. If I had to choose one word to describe Claudia's character journey in Season 3, it would be ominous. It's not even what she did that's terrifying, it's what she could do, what she has proved herself willing to do. Her actions in Season 3 mark a change in her. When she had to choose between Soren and her father, she chose her father. This demonstrated not only to Soren, but also to her, what she really holds dear. She's forging her own path, and it is a very dark and chill-inducing path. I imagine she will have regrets as she proceeds down the road to villainy, but I also don't imagine these regrets will be enough to convince her to stop. Unless she is willing to accept that her entire worldview, which holds both herself and her father in extremely high regard, is wrong, she will inch closer and closer to becoming the main villain of the series. So thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can, and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching The Dragon Prince. It is a brilliant, thoughtful, fascinating show that is only getting better as it's going along. Its character work is becoming more precise. Its meditations on war and leadership and mercy are becoming all the more lucid. I really can't wait for Season 4. Tune in soon for my next analysis. It will be coming soon. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.